So hi, uh, again, that's the third video of the series about explaining the different role that we play in IT with the commentary to kind of explain the subtle detail and I think what made the difference between a good and a great player. So now we'll play the actually Mesmer Monk. So that's when we play 5 Mesmer in casual. So here you go, you can see the bar here. There are some people that actually play with um, Shatter, but that's definitely not as good. You should really play with FH. You have when you are 5 Mesmer, you have plenty of AoE damage. What matter is the last mob that stands at the end that you want to kill very fast. Otherwise, it's pretty much needed, and you do need NPT for Vel. So there you go. Let's start. So that was actually, I think, a 22-minute run, which is fairly good. With 5 Mesmer, you definitely want to do 22 or 21, with experienced people. There was, I think, few not that experienced people in the run, but yeah. So ergo, so something very directly start, but when you're TK, IU, or Mesmer Monk, you should always take either the Dabi, the Su, or talk before to tell which one you will take. And one guy's mistrust the Dabi, one mistrust the Su. That will just increase the damage by so much because especially if you have Lunar and Egg and so on, you see that's 182. That's the skills that deal the most damage. If you have two of those, that's so much damage. And see they directly fall without question. So again, uh, that was a good spawn and they die right away. No question. So ergo, you can see I have a lot of energy after putting the Archon Echo, which is 15 energy. I still have 60 on my 40-40 set. So that's a really good habit when you have that much energy, especially for the TK, the IU, and the Mesmer Monks, is to use Echo. In this room, it make a huge difference if there's one or two Echo E-Surge. So there you go. Echo E-Surge, what does the most? Now I want to empathy the VU. That's quite important. And there we go. I deal damage overall, and that's where the FH play, right? I did actually fail it. That's pretty embarrassing, but uh, if I did put it correctly, it would have been very useful. In fact, the TK did cover, which means he didn't put it on the order that I thought he would. That's why I didn't actually put it on the first rider. And there you go. Just spike as much as you can. That's 115. That's pretty good. In fact, that was about a 114 first two room. That's pretty good. So again, FH come in quite handy to just do finish one last darter. It's way more useful than have a shadow that wouldn't have been useful whatsoever. So now we kill them fast. There's a little detail that is very important. So you see I pop a Drider in room 2. So that was like, in fact, that was very easy because the mob did break. That's in fact the best scenario with the new AI that make it very easy. But make sure to put the Dreamy in the next aggro. If the spike is perfect and you don't put the Dreamy in the next aggro, the Dreamy will follow you and it will be a little bit annoying because you cannot let him block on this gate because the mob will never kill him and you need a stone for Vel. And if you let him enter, you can see what happened in my TT video. In fact, we are quite lucky on the spawn, but it can be a little bit sketch and annoying to handle. So and you will generally lose a time if you do that when you push. In the case where you enter, you probably don't want to push and just do the regular way in the fourth room. But anyway, in this case, you're the one pop the stone, make sure to kill it. It's very important. So see what we do here, we push. If I had the Dreamy, I recommend to just stop there and do the regular way. Otherwise, it will be very bad. See, in our tactic, we don't directly run in like we will do in the 16, for instance. We let the TT do the pull. Even if we have the aggro there, that's not that bad to have the aggro. The emo can easily handle it, but we wait, then we go. Yeah, not much people buying. Should have probably FH there. Kind of missed that. There you go. That yeah. Here, in fact, the spike will not be that good because first of all, there's one mob that passed, and Vor didn't got a recast on his Iwi, so I don't know if it's because he didn't have AOS during when you're Vor you always have because there's so much mob, but it does happen. In fact, it does happen. I remember. Okay, that's an interesting thing to show. See, the group did spawn on us. That's actually really good for time if every messenger are wake up and very ready to act correctly. For this reason, you see, whenever this group will die, so we'll kill them. See, I see they spawn, put echo right away, target a despair, and use my and favorize the eco mistrust because there's enough caster and you don't want to, for instance, in fact, we still got chip, right? So there may be a few mistrust that went on the same mob or not enough mistrust would depend what other mismer did. But let's say on average, it's better to do so. So again, spike that. You can use mistrust on the right mob. It will generally trigger. In fact, it didn't. So I might have missed. I don't know who I put it, but so again, I did explain in my emo video that you shouldn't move and the emo should fuse. Although the emo don't often play, and you kind of miss it, and you see there was two there. But normally, if the emo is completely there and then up to the recent tactic, you should just keep him alive. So there you go. As a mesmer monk, it's very important you have all the capability of doing so to be within the first mesmer because you're the guys that ping. You don't, and so you want to be quite fast. So you see the TK in this run will do perfectly. He take right away. He doesn't need to wait. If the Mesmer Monk isn't sleeping, he will be among the first Mesmer. You have all the with EE, it's very easy, and the snake will just run. So that was perfect. The TK did perfectly there. There's a lot of TK that wait way too much before taking the first snake. You don't have to wait whatsoever. So again, you want to be in the first. There's a little detail. If the snake is stuck, since you're the guys that ping, I did explain it in my emo video, or if you're the seeder in a Formus Mirror configuration, you do not stop under the snake, under the spirit. You keep running outside of the spirit, or and you let the emo handle it. The emo can easily handle this group with the four other mez. In this case, that's obviously not the problem, so just you go right away. I did choose to put my seed now because, okay, in fact, yeah, that was a little bit. The reason why I wanted to put my seed is because I was under QZ, so it will have been recast. But you see, whenever I start casting, I go out. So that was a little bit, uh, yeah, it's not that bad. You see, normally the IU won't get one shot. The emo in a 5 mesmer configuration must be ready to fuse. And in fact, you do not see the IU. You always see the emo. And again, I put my yeah, that was really misplayed there. The reason I put my eco by reflex, but I shouldn't have because my seed was about to get recast. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to seed so I wanted to actually use my FH before using my seed, and I was too far, so I kind of click in the yeah after. So I actually echo my E surge, and anyway, that was a little bit sketch. And I actually put my signet then on the someone that got shatter. That's one reason why you don't want too much shatter. So yeah, that was a very much misplay. I wasn't there in time to put my mistrust on the rage. That make a huge difference again because mistrust deal that much damage. Then I had a 0 hit. That was a very misplay by me. And that all started just because I kind of put my seed outside of the QZ. Very small detail that changed some about your run. So again, you can see all mesmer we are perfectly placed, even though we were not on TS. That shows a lot of experience. or luck, who knows? And you see, we didn't like no one die, or maybe one guy's died, not sure. And I did mention it in the emo video, but as the mesmer monk, you want to be either the first or the second to take the chest. So I guess you can leave a little bit early on Fury or do that because you see the tank just recall me, and your job is to go EE the snake inside city, take the quest, and since the TT has recall on you, he will put his shadow form just before, and then he will break recall and already start balling. And that's what I will do. Quite important. That's very useful. Then he directly aggroed, and that's quite good. All the other people are barely there, and the ball is. See, we don't. Most mesmer don't even have to stop running. So if you compare to probably most of the casual run, the people have to stop to let the tank pull. That wasn't the case. Again, small detail. Try to put your eco a little bit before the spike. It will allow more energy to get back. It's very useful to eco there, even if you don't pass both skill, because you will have eco on the first mob of the wall, and that make a huge difference. Although on the wall, you should always prioritize the signet because it doesn't cost energy, especially if you're under a QZ, it will recast fast, won't cost much energy, only two because of the zone effect and then the other skill. Also, this bar is very, very strong for the wall. So your job is to, first of all, empathy every mank. That's very important. That will make a huge difference. And then you can kind of signet some Su at some time, especially if you're fast, and use FH as well. If you're on the TS with the TK, you can say, okay, I will FH this one and you FH the next one for the mank, right? For not for the pseudo. So see, put some damage the Su. Always prioritize my signet, and you see we are very fast, but we are five mesmers, so that's pretty obvious that we'll be very fast. Yeah, I wanted to finish this one, but yeah, kind of. Okay, here it's your job as well as in the seater position that will anyway show in another video. You need to let the main tank HOS out of you. And the reason is that he actually have recall on the emo, and even without breaking recall, it will be there in time, and it win a lot of time on the later. So you let the main tank HOS in. Note that the main tank still have recall on the emo. In our tactic, the mesmer monk spike both ball, and the emos take the snake. Take the reward. In this run, he will forget again. This emo doesn't play that often, so he's not completely up to date on every tactic. But whoops, that shouldn't be a problem. Again, small advice: try to target either a Su or a Kaya and put your mistrust. That's a lot of damage, and again, your skill that do more damage. Now we play with 5 Mesmer. The Mesmer Ranger has to put EOE. That's not a problem. The ball is very good. Just go on someone that has an enchantment. If every Mesmer do so, they can still put their signet. You don't need the VAR. You can also put Mistrust if you want. So see now the emo did forget. Well, that was a misclick. Did forget to take the quest, so I went took it. Otherwise, I could have just went. Uh, Here, as the Mesmer Monk, you will generally want to put, like, I will have put it right away, but wasn't recast, so you want to put Seed on the emo so he get more energy for casting skills. Yeah, that was, yeah, that was definitely wasn't my best run, but you can kind of see that I had eco. I wanted to put my E-Surge, then my second E-Surge, and I was too far, and I cast my one before actually casting E-Surge, and so we kind of double cast eco. Well, got for up, so was didn't lose as much time, but yeah, that was a little bit sketch. Here, also lost a lot of energy because of that, 15 energy, but and that's why I didn't put my FH right away. But you generally want to put FH so the Jada die faster. The TK also have FH, but the TK should prioritize eco PI. That's why you should actually FH. Those are very small detail, but that's what make you win few second everywhere. Yeah, the reason I wait there and I didn't EE is because I saw the MT had recall on me and I saw there was another guy that was really far, so I didn't want to break him too early and the mob coming back and aggroing and all this bullshit that follow. So that's why I wait a little bit at this point. So again, here your job is to put seed on the emo when you tank only. Do not put seed on the tank. On the tank, it's not important, and you will lose time and energy and timing, especially. That's even more important. Also, the seed you can put it before, right? It lasts very long, and especially with the 20% enchantment. So you see now the tank wall, so I won't put seed. Yeah, if I remember correctly, most of damage in this run were pretty terrible. Uh, be ready to follow. Again, that's one part where FH is very likely more useful than a Shatter, right? For the finishing the few mob that are left. Yeah, yeah. So now you have to remember that's the fifth wave. So that's the emo will tank. Again, since the emo that tank, put the seed up. It will make it easier. Not necessary, but quite easier. Yeah, see that's kind of the thing with the 360 is when there's one group that die after the other, especially when it's one on the right edge on the south clover, it make it delay everything after that, and you saw this hunger came in the line rather than the ball, which delay this spike because again so that's why it's quite important. On the last wave, though, you can see the IU since it's not as tanky as the tank, so you want to take less risk. So maybe if the emo is not completely awake, it's useful to actually uh, do so. And you see again the like they came way like they didn't came together whatsoever, and that very fucked the World 360. The World 360 was very terrible because of that, and that boils down to the first few spike with bad off damage. You do not need to seed here because it won't help the tank. The emo doesn't need help. I don't know why there's not the two other mesmer not with me, but generally the three mesmer should be together, or if there's a monk, the two mesmer and the monk should be together, and just use PI with incendiary arrows. You will take a lot of damage. We even have empathy, we have FH, and do not rob. It's quite important. If you have a rob skill, you don't want to rob the ranger. Let him go cast the incendiary arrow with PI on it. So that's interesting because I did explain something in my emo video that you might want to look. So normally I said the emo in our tactic should take it, but again, the emo is not up to date. And you see, this wave do come way faster than this one. So that's why you want to take this one and not the, and you don't really care about the back one because they don't come at the same timing. And you will see that will actually kind of destroy this spike. Like they definitely got definitely affected this spike. That's why we didn't have a EWE. Normally, our guy with EWE kind of go and put the EWE at the top right, but we didn't. And again, I did mention in my emo video, but it's very important for any job. Be ready, take the back target. You just target the caster tormentor, and you see the main tank didn't have a target ping. Maybe he actually had one, but didn't ping one, and that could have been a fail if it wasn't ready. Here, there's a small detail. You can either see the tank or the emo. I think it's better to see the emo. One reason is that you can see them earlier and eco E-surge. In any case, the emo will be able to handle it easily, even if there's no seed whatsoever. It's a good thing to see the emo just for the enchantment, and then there you go. And as the Mesmer Monk, you go with the MT right away. There's already 3 Mesmer on the other side. He will recall you, pull it. I did show something at the Monk Lord during my TT video, and it's quite nice. You do it with recall, which is a little bit harder. So you see aggro and then pull, and he still come. That's a good tactic. Didn't do it perfectly, but it's way harder with recall than with SOH. And there you go. You have empathy. You kill it empathy, put other damage. You don't really need to eco. I guess you could, but and the other mesmer, you see they do come, but they don't have to. You go away, you put FH, and then you already run away, and the since the tank has recall on you, it will finish and it will munch space. I think those 2 mesmer are not used to run with those tactic and kind of didn't expect it. So now I kind of said to the Emontias, what's the max range, but you can always go and take your bond, especially if the TK isn't done yet, but normally you won't be there in time. So I think I did mention in the emo video that the emo and the cedar can do the MLK tendril. See, that's why. You see the MLK is there, he's spiking that, so there's no MLK. Since we have 5 mesmer, that's obvious. It's my job to do it. I saw they were really slow. I went on help spiking, so we were too. But in any case, if the MLK is not available to do it, it's your job to do it. You have plenty enough. Don't put FH there. Pl- you will trick the MLK into killing him too fast. Here, you can eco seed if you don't feel comfortable, and in fact, maybe I should have, but that was unexpected. The MT went on. It did like a big turn to get the group that the guys didn't do. It didn't take. Also, the other mesmer for some reason didn't spike the first wave, and for this reason, you see he lost the seed. But I mean that was a very long spike. Um, and something very important as a mesmer, as overall, if the emo die or everyone lose bound, don't go under the tendril and try to. Like I see so many like 2, 3 mesmer dead and they keep dying. Takes so much time. Just go on, kill 1 or 2 tendril. It take 1 second if everyone go on and it just make the job way easier. It also allow the tank and maybe the emo to take their chest. It's just more optimized overall. And also try to dodge. Even if you have bond, it's very useful to dodge a shot like that because it will just help the emo. You will probably lose less bond. And yeah, very useful in overall to consider that the job of the other player, especially when you get more experience. It get easier to do those kind of stuff and very useful. So that was in fact a very fast trigger. And well, the reason is that we didn't have bound, took more time to take the chest, but there you go. So I did explain something in the emo video where I said the cedar was too far, so I went triggering, but that's the job either of the mesmer monk or the cedar if it's a monk. That's your job. Go trigger the enemies there, the NPC. The you have EE, so you should be in the first player. You should be very forward. If you're the last player when when you have EE, that's mean you really fucked up somewhere. And you see that the Earth are already spawned. We obviously we get them, but it's a little bit sketch, obviously. But at this point, I mean, it's too easy to fail. Cannot fail there. Yeah, what those two guys did, it's not necessarily what you want to do. You want to go behind, play safe. That could have went bad. Um, all right. So a small explanation because I don't have the final word. When we play with four mesmer, so with the monk, we do we the recall tactic is done on the IU, but I think the best to do when you but in fact when we play with five mesmer, the IU must go to the rift, and I think in this case the best is to do the recall tactic with the mesmer monk or the MLK. So always just check with the TK unless we there's some rule set up. But otherwise, check with the TK. We will recall. It's important to know for the recall tactic. Now, that's what I was explaining in the TT video. So we in the IT when we play with five mesmer, we do two different tactics. In fact, even with four mesmer, we do it. Either we take the two last if the group if the mesmer play well together, or we only take the last. In this case, I did say take two last. They were a little bit sleepy, but they will react in time. We are really on TS, so it's sometimes quite hard to to organize everything. When you do that, very important, everyone should eco e-search. Not important to have the eco for this spike, the group spike. Or yeah, that was sad that my mistrust wasn't someone that just duplicate after that. And you see, that's what I was saying. Like this group of mesmer do spike pretty well. I mean, that was a little bit slower, but normally I will just have used my signet, but the Vor was late because he died, and there was no X, so it's kind of useless to use. And here I did come, although I didn't have recall. I wanted him to EE, but for some reason he didn't EE, which like just made the recall tactic so shitty. And that's the reason we actually don't put the VAR on the recall tactic, or we shouldn't. It's rather the Mesmer Monk or the MLK, because the VAR should be the one that pop the Tengu for the two last group or the last group. And you see the Tengu will get very late, and that can be very annoying in some cases. It didn't affect us, but see, they are already spawned, and if the ball was good, we will want to go in, and we want the Tengu for that. And well, we didn't. In any case, that was a terrible, terrible. Little trick there. Use your mistrust on the mine. It always trigger. Always trigger. That's a huge difference. The 200 just made that the earth was already dead and the flesh had no HP. Again, the FH way more useful than the shatter it for finishing them up. Here, very important. Do go with Eco E-Surge right away. The IU, the TK, the MLK, the Mesmer Monk should go with Eco E-Surge. Do not try to save any damage. And I mean, that, yeah, the zero damage was very unlucky. Kind of want to finish him together. Yeah, that That wasn't the best spike at all. Was a little bit on even and did forget the seed as well. Although normally you don't prioritize the seed. You do you do want to prioritize damage, but I could have put a seed if it's a possibility. Let's say like I got my two research diver bed and should probably you see when I got my diversion. I don't know how much like time I had to react to those diversion. Yeah, that's the first one that was definitely impossible to avoid. The second one was fairly easy. I start casting after having it. So now I should have probably escaped to cancel and use a seed or something to yeah. Those small detail, but can make a difference because the spike was a little bit slow because of that. Anyway, that's the end for this video. So we'll see. See you.